Dear fellow recruiters, Suman Pachigulla here. In this video, we are going to understand full about .NET and what exactly a .NET developer needs, and how you as a recruiter, how you as a bench salesperson could able to address correct candidate to a perfect requirement. All right. So before we go in, so let me show you how exactly it look like. It means when it comes to a job requirement, right? So here is something. Okay, let me open it up, and this is for an example of how .NET developer requirement look like, and you know that, and why you are going to find the candidate and how you can find. That's what you should be knowing. So here a .NET developer, ASP.NET, SQL and C#, and you see .NET, C#, MVC, ASP.NET and MS SQL Server, SOA. So this is so many things they are looking for, okay, in this job requirement. And if we go to another job requirement, so it is not important. It is important not only that you know what technologies, but you should know why they are using it, okay. So what is this job is? It looks like pretty small job they have mentioned. Interesting kind of job requirements, people. Surprised to see. Okay, let's open this one and see. It is a full-time. Hopefully this is not the same job we opened. Yes, .NET, C#, MS SQL, JavaScript, CSS, MS SQL Server. There are so many things that client is looking for. Now let's understand something, that what exactly it makes this requirement different, and how you as a recruiter could able to find a perfect candidate, and how you as a salesperson could able to find an exact requirement for your candidate. Now before that, you need to understand, when it comes to .NET, there are two different things that is available at this point of time. One is .NET Core. So when it comes to .NET, it's a .NET framework, people, okay. It is a .NET framework. So this is not like any Java requirement. That's straightforward. You have a Java, and that's a programming language, and you find a person who worked on Java, right? So this is something like ETL developer. Or one moment, people, I'm getting a call, let me attend it. So I'm back. So when it comes to .NET requirement, you do not think that it is just general like Java or any other Python, that sort of requirement, but you need to understand a little bit more about it. So here when I say .NET is a framework, .NET Core is also a framework, which is like it's a recent version. So here both are .NET framework, .NET Core, both provide a platform to develop .NET application for the Windows related programs, okay. Now here, so what is the difference? So when .NET framework is used, the developer can only create or build software applications which can run only on Windows. So till the time before the .NET Core came into the market, whenever the .NET framework has been used, it used only to develop applications which can run on Windows only. But when .NET Core evolved, it facilitated, it has given a platform to build applications which can run on Windows, Linux or in Apple laptops or their systems, all right. And .NET framework released on 2002, and .NET Core came into the market 2016. So here when it comes to .NET framework, you will be able to see in the requirements or in the resumes, they use C#, F# or VB.NET and so on and so forth. Those are the older versions. But when it comes to .NET Core, it supports recent versions of these and new languages as well. So new upgraded versions of these languages are not going to support .NET framework. Got it? And when it comes to .NET framework, it has a moderate security, moderate performance, but when it comes to .NET Core, it has a high level security and high level performance. Now do you think when .NET Core evolves, it is going to take over .NET framework and it will not go for any use, or it will get absolute? No. So here there are so many applications which is currently running on .NET framework, and it is nearly impossible to convert everything to .NET Core and get it started developed with new technologies and get it compatible. So that world is already there and that will be there, but when it is evolving, now people are using .NET Core and the other languages related to it, because the applications whatever they develop that can run on Windows, Linux or Macintosh systems as well. Now if you see Xamarin, right, that is one of the technologies that you see in .NET technology. So Xamarin supports .NET framework, and that facilitates the developers to develop mobile applications, all right, Mac related application, tablet related, iPhone related application that you can create with Xamarin infrastructure. That's the framework. All right, now let's go deep. Now when it comes to .NET requirement, how would you understand it? All right, it could be a sales recruiter, it could be IT recruiter. How would you understand? So as I was telling you, just like Java, only having one technology like C# is not enough in here. .NET technology, .NET developer, but they need to know some libraries, frameworks as well. These people need to know libraries and frameworks. So when it comes to libraries, library is something, it is a repository, it is like we can say it is something where there are pre-written programs, objects or scripts are already been written there, which will be useful for the developers to use it without recreating it. All right, frameworks is, it could be for mobile application, it could be for Windows level, it could be for different operating system. So it could be like multi-platform framework these people need to know. And in .NET requirement you generally see ASP.NET, MVC, Entity Framework. These are languages and frameworks. All right, so if you see MVC, this could be architecture or framework, you may call it's a model view controller. Entity Framework, that you primarily see when it comes to .NET. So here when you look at candidate, if they do not have any of these, if you do not see every framework in the profile, so do not reject those resumes, because each and every framework is interrelated, and if the person knows one, they generally know other things as well. So it is your duty to ask that individual that without knowing the framework, how did they evolve or how did they get into that particular project and how did they accomplish it. All right, and it is very important when it comes to a senior candidate, you need to find the person who has really worked in hands-on real-time projects, not like academic projects. Only if you need a junior candidate, then only focus on looking for junior level experience, but other than they definitely need to have some hands-on working experience with companies. And in .NET framework, in the .NET requirements, if you see WCF, WPF, WinForms, Web Forms, those are related to .NET framework related requirement, and you do not see these kind of words in .NET Core requirement, because .NET Core do not support WCF, WPF, WinForms, Web Forms related technology. All right, now, so how would you screen a candidate? So when it comes to screening a candidate, what you need to understand is, before you get in asking .NET related question or understanding what the candidate is say, it is very important that you should know few of the .NET terms and what is that been used by these developers. So if you could speak their language, then you could able to make yourself an authority, at least like, yes, this person knows what he or she is talking. So it is better you understand about what comes into a .NET technologies requirement, so that you could understand, read and ask as well. So here, if you are a technical recruiter looking for a .NET developer, then you should at least be familiar with all of its frameworks, build tools, other resources, in order to know what you are looking for, because a .NET developer must know, okay, the front end part and the back end part as well. So here, this is what we are going to understand. There are two different types of requirement you generally see. One .NET developer which asks for .NET framework, another .NET developer which asks for .NET Core. Okay, what are the differences? What are the related terms and technologies that let's go and understand. All right. So when it comes to .NET developer with .NET framework, what sort of things you expect in the resume? If not everything, but few of the things as well. In the resume, you will see .NET framework, recent versions. Okay, 4.8 is the recent version as we speak today. It is 11th June 2022. This is the latest version, and if you're looking at some point of time in future, so you need to check that could be the latest version of that time. You see languages C#, VB.NET, F#, C++.NET. This could be the requirements or the technologies used by the people who work as a .NET developer with the .NET framework. Web framework, ASP.NET, MVC, ASP.NET Web API, ASP.NET Web Forms. Now, when it comes to web framework, right? Or it's a web application framework. So here, this is a software framework. These are the software framework that is designed to support the development of web application, which includes web services, web resources, and web APIs. Meaning, here if you create application using APIs, web services, the whole scenario will run. API is application programming interface. Web services is the similar script which will let the one application or another application talk, one layer, another layer talk, and that's how it works. So in the web frameworks, which provides a standard way to build and deploy web applications on World Wide Web or HTTP, or it's a www, or it's online. Got it, people? So this facilitates this allow the developer to create and let the web application run on the web. So not primarily on desktop, but on web side as well. And desktop framework. So these are the web framework. These are the desktop framework. Meaning, when you see WPF, Windows Forms. Now these are the used in older version when it was. Before the .NET Core came in, it has been used. Now in .NET Core, these are not been useful. So when it comes to WPF, so it is a Windows Presentation Foundation. Alright, what is this? Windows Presentation Foundation. If you have pen and paper, you better note it down rather than taking a screenshot. That's what I would suggest. So in this framework, so WPF is a framework. In this framework, what happens? The .NET framework primarily used to develop graphics of a desktop application. In your what is desktop application? Desktop application is something where once it is installed, it can only be used on that particular system. For example, for your Photoshop, maybe you download your laptop games, or Illustrator, MS Office, anything that sort, right? Those are the desktop application, and for that they use WPF for the graphics related, look and feel related. And then, so once you, what is that going to happen is, this is for .NET related, okay, and with Java as well, people develop desktop application. So with .NET framework, someone can create desktop application and web application, Java as well. When it comes to Java related, generally you will notice Swing, SWING. Swing is a similar framework like WPF, which is going to give a platform to develop desktop based applications. And not only, as it only runs on Windows related, Java application has the liberty to run on any platforms. Okay, they run on multiple platforms. And what are the other technologies? Communication framework, for example, WCF, ASP.NET Web API, web services. This is what we just discussed, right? So for a .NET developer, it is important that they know these technologies as well. And IOC containers, Cashel Windsor container, Unity, Structure Map, Ninject, Autofac. Now here when we say IOC containers, it could be like, inversion of control. IOC called inversion of control. It's like a dependency injection. You may write dependency injections in your string. So for example, within the software, what happens for the developers, to build a big application, they need to create multiple objects. So one object cannot create another object without depending on a secondary object. So that's the reason they use these sort of technologies. It is called dependency injection as well. It's called IOC, anything that you call. So primarily you see in their requirements AutoFac, Ninjact, Unity, these sort of technologies. Now you understood what are the technologies used by the .NET developers in order to develop a proper .NET application. So as we saw the build tools, okay. For example, build. This is another technology. Yes, ORM. It's a object relational mapping. Okay, it's a object relational mapping is object model and relational database. So one object, how it can connect to the database to get its information. This particular framework will be useful. Entity framework, NHibernate, Link, ADO.NET. So these will be used for object mapping. Got it, people? Unit testing. C# unit testing frameworks are NUnit, SpecFlow, MSTest, XUnit. So here unit testing means once a developer creates a particular program, small program, a bunch of multiple lines of code, they need to execute it in order to see how it is responding. Now to get one output, there might be multiple things needs to come together to give that one output. So the multiple things could be multiple codes written in one place, and they execute it. If multiple codes work together to get one output, it needs to be tested properly, right? So that is called unit testing. So it's like let's say it's the finger they are building. This could be a small unit, this could be small unit, this could be small unit. So this nail could be a small unit. Now all these together tested individually, then after they get it, they integrate it, they call it integration testing. Now when they connect it with the whole palm, it could be a system testing, and so on and so forth. So before it comes in, before the whole program handed over to the real-time manual tester or automation tester, at the developer level, they do this testing. That is called unit testing. So generally you see unit testing could be called as a white box testing. So it is nothing but whoever is the tester, the person knows the coding, at the same time how the code is going to behave. So functional experience, functional knowledge and coding knowledge both comes together. Whoever tests it, they call white box tester. Who only tests the function, they called functional tester or general manual tester. Alright. So for that unit testing, they use these sort of technologies. Clear? And build tools. So TFS, Team Foundation Server, TeamCity, Jenkins, Cruise Control, .NET. So these are used for build the code. Build is something after the code is written and it gets compiled and it's ready to be executed. Build is ready to be executed, ready to be used for ready to be used for work, anything. It's like ready to be a final product. That's what it is. Now, so this is for the requirement when you have .NET developer with .NET framework as a requirement. So when it comes to .NET developer with .NET core, the similar things we need to understand that these developer will have it, but they have something different. What is that and why it is different? Because .NET framework can only be useful for building Windows based applications. When it comes to .NET core, it can help the developer build for multiple cross-functional platform, Windows, Linux, Macintosh and so on. .NET Core framework, you see at this point of time as we are talking, 6 version is available. Okay, .NET Core or ASP.NET you may see. C#, Visual.NET, VB.NET, F has also latest versions of these are used in .NET Core. For the web development, they use ASP.NET Core with MVC framework. Communication framework. So Web API is now integrated into ASP.NET Core MVC. So this web API, earlier you need to know that how this communication should work, this application programming interface. Now they say it's already integrated with ASP.NET Core new version. Same dependency injections, Cachel, WinStore container, Unity, structure mapping, Ninject, AutoFac. In .NET Core also it has been used. Entity framework core. This is for object relational mapping. Unit testing, N unit, MS unit, X unit. All right. Excuse me, man. Excuse me. And how would you know what is the advantage of what can make a developer stronger? If you see the person who has worked on Azure, that could be added advantage. Why? Because .NET is a Microsoft product and Azure is also a Microsoft product. Different languages, C#, VB.NET, F#, and different languages. They should know ASP.NET, MVC, Entity Framework, different databases, MS SQL, SQL Server, Azure, etc. Microsoft Technology Associate, MCSA, Web Application Universal Windows Platform. So this is a certification. MCSA has nothing to do with Microsoft Certified System Admin, but this is a Microsoft Certified Solution Associate for Web Application. So these are the certifications. .NET Core. So this is very much important, that if .NET Core and its latest version they know, it is very much helpful for them. And if you see the requirement, generally you see one technology can be written in a different manner, meaning it is not writing .NET as a .NET, .space net, .NET, .NET, space NET. No, this is not what I'm talking about. So the skill that can interchangeable, okay, both different skills, but they do the similar work. For example, if you see ASP.NET, that can be written in ASP.NET MVC, .NET MVC, or Model View Controller. Everything is one. Okay. EF Entity Framework, ADO.NET Entity Framework is the same. Windows Communication Foundation, WCF, SOA architecture, all are same. Okay. Now, for example, SOA is solution. SOA is a service oriented architecture. This is a framework as well. This is architecture for developing web applications. Now here SOA is a way of developing SOA related applications. So WCF is a technology which can be used, okay, to develop SOA application. Understood now? SOA provides a service to create applications. Now WCF is the technologies which is used to create that SOA based application. So both are similar, but if you call it is WCF is a SOA? Well, SOA has nothing but it's an architectural style. It's like a skeleton. Okay, what it does, it lets different application talk together, okay, which are not compatible. This could be written in one language, this could have been written in different language, this could have been written in different language, but everything needs to communicate with each other. So that's where this architecture facilitates to connect with each application. In this architecture, this is how it works. All right. And what is WCF? This is one of the examples of SOA. Got it, people? So here in this architecture, all these non-compatible applications communicate each other with a common language. This architecture provides that facility. So WCF is one of the examples of SOA. Got it? Now here, as a recruiter, when you get to a requirement, okay, now you understood, okay, it's a QA UAT process. So here what you understand is a .NET C# technology required. This is the database. You see the framework. This is the front end. Okay, this is again the back end, database related. This is what? Integration services, reporting services for this is for SQL Server, query tuning, Visual Studio, and so on and so forth. Now you could able to easily understand any requirement as it comes in without worrying about why they need something, what they need. Okay, if we open this requirement and see what it has, if you see full stack .NET, full stack means front end and back end. So they need CI/CD. What is CI/CD? It's a cloud, it is a DevOps environment. They are looking for .NET application on Azure, so they are going to deploy this application on cloud. familiarity with ASP.NET and .NET Core. So they are looking for a .NET Core framework, and this is where you do not see WCF, WPF, okay, WinForms, Web Forms, you do not see that. It's a ASP.NET latest version, maybe 3 or more. It supports .NET Core, okay, C# used. So you see ASP.NET .NET Core is a framework. This is the backend. They need MVC. You see, that is the framework again to used to create that particular application. And what else? This is for the front end, HTML, JavaScript, CSS for the front end. C# is the language. ADO.NET, again this is the database, once again they have mentioned. Team found TFS, SharePoint, DevOps, Office 365, so on and so forth. All right, and you see these are the connectivities, right? APIs, web services, REST for their microservices architecture. This is again Java framework for the front end. They are looking for Angular, React, Vue. Agile is the methodology. Now once you have a clarity, okay, what is that going to happen? You don't have to worry about anything else. Now see, they are looking for .NET development, C# and .NET 4.7. So it could be .NET 4.7 framework they are using. Web APIs, JSON and XML. These are the, JSON is the page, right? XML, JSON are the pages. Web services is like an API, like REST, SOAP, you see, right? That's what it is. Web application integration, C#, .NET, JavaScript, HTML. So this is how the requirement are, people. Now once you understand what is required and why it is required, then it is easy for you to identify and to work on any requirement that you get in. All right, I hope it is useful for you. Now if you found value out of it, put that in the comment box. Let me know as a token of gratitude that yes, I found value out of this, so that other recruiters can learn more from your experience. All right, so thank you so much. This is Suman Pachigulla on a mission to impact 5 million lives. Do share this video with other recruiters and invite other recruiters to join this channel so that we all together can impact 5 million lives. Take care and God bless you, people. I love you all. Bye bye.